Welcome everyone to Roll for Recipe. For those who are new here, my name is Kyle and I roll these dice for ingredients and then try to make a dish with them. For those who aren't new here, you'll notice a new setup that I actually can show my kitchen now, so hopefully this works a little bit better, especially for the eating portion. But without further ado, let's get to the rolling. First up, the D10 restriction roll. That is a 10, a little bit hard to see there, but that is indeed a 0. So 10, as you guys can see, is second chance. That's going to let us re-roll one die at the end of all the rolling. Next up, a D8 for the protein. 4 for eggs. Eggs are probably one of the most versatile proteins that we can get. A lot of things that we can do with this. Definitely gonna have to see what else we roll before we know what we're doing with them. I realize these new dice I got look really cool, but they're a little hard to see sometimes on camera. Anyway, here we go, D6 for carb. 4 for rice noodles. We got rice noodles last episode, so I still have a little bit left over from last time. And to boot, we got egg this time. Noodles and eggs are gonna go really well to make a good noodle stir fry. 2d12 for our seasonings. 3 and 7, that's cocoa powder and thyme. Cocoa powder and thyme, this is definitely not ideal. I think thyme should be pretty neutral, so I'm probably gonna keep this one. Cocoa powder is definitely so far the roll that we're gonna have to redo though. But let's see what else we get. Maybe we get something way worse. For the produce, we roll 2d20. 12 and 14, collard greens and Napa cabbage. Collard greens and Napa cabbage, both these should go well in a stir fry. The only thing to keep in mind is the collard greens are a hardier leaf. They're a bit thicker, hardier. So you usually want to slow braise these. I'll probably slow braise them ahead of time and then throw them into the stir fry afterwards. And as always, we're finishing off with the D100 Wild Magic Roll. 25 for Vegemite. And now we get Vegemite. This is a very controversial ingredient, very popular in Australia and maybe some other parts of the world. To be honest though, I like the Vegemite maybe a little bit better than the cocoa powder, so I think we're still gonna swap out the cocoa powder. So let's re-roll this D12. 5 for cilantro. Cilantro is definitely a lot better than cocoa powder here. I don't have the gene that makes it taste like soap to me, so I really like cilantro. And definitely with a noodle stir fry, with everything else that we have here, I think this should go really well. Last but not least, 2d6 to see how many extra ingredients we can use. 6 plus 5 is 11. That's gonna be a lot to work with. 11 ingredients is a lot. Originally, when I set this up, I was gonna do up to 11 ingredients, but I think I'm gonna actually force whatever number I roll. It kind of makes these higher numbers like 11 and 12 a little bit more challenging, adds their own unique challenge. So for today, I think the best way to do this is to do a pad thai direction with the egg, the noodles. I think we already have some of the setup for it, and pad thai tends to use a lot of ingredients, so that will help us get to the ingredient cap. I'm gonna start with the vegetable broth. As I said with the collard greens, we're gonna have to braise them for a while to get them softened up to use in that stir fry. Vegetable stock is gonna help us do that. As for the pad thai sauce itself, we have some fish sauce, some tamarind paste, and some palm sugar. These are kind of your standard 3 things that you need for a pad thai sauce. It adds umami and saltiness, sour and sweet, gives a nice balance to it all. If you wanna make this type of sauce at home, very unlikely that you're gonna find palm sugar and tamarind paste at your local grocers. You're gonna have to go to an Asian grocery market, or you're gonna have to order them from online. Finally, we have all the mix-ins here that we're gonna add in. Scallions, I don't have garlic chives, which would be a bit more traditional, but these should work fine. Tofu is pretty standard as well. Dried shrimp is something you're probably just not gonna find it at your local grocers, Asian markets, or order it online somehow. Garlic and chili paste for some added flavors. This will add spice. Garlic is used in pretty much everything. I have bean sprouts here from last time. They are starting to go bad now. They're getting a little brown, so I'm probably gonna have to go to the store and swap these out. And then peanuts, I like using these as a garnish, chop them up, whatever, use them as the garnish, mix them into everything. You could theoretically swap a couple of these things out, maybe for like a lime if you wanted to, but I think this is probably our best bet to get the best flavor profile. And with that, let's get to cooking. Our cutting board. We're gonna do collard greens first so that we can prep these, get them cooking, and then move on to prep everything else. So for collard greens, I like to just cut through the stem. Now you're gonna cut through the stem of each single leaf. Now we're gonna stack these leaves, we're gonna roll them up and then cut them into slivers. And these seem pretty long, but once they braise and lose a lot of the water, they're gonna actually be a lot smaller. Get our pot, vegetable broth, the washed collard greens, add a little water to it so that it actually covers it. All right, and then we'll just cover it and let it simmer for about an hour while we cook everything else. All right, next up we have our Napa cabbage leaves. Just gonna rough chop these. They're gonna end up reducing a lot once they're sauteed, so you can cut them into quite large chunks, I think. Save these later, I can make a stock with them. Next up are scallions. Cut the butts off. Again, save these for a vegetable stock. Chop the whites off. These are gonna be used like a regular cooking onion would. And now for the tops, I'm just gonna trim the ends off of them. Once again, save these. I think I'm just gonna cut these into kind of smaller pieces, like what I cut the bases. Yeah, I'd say that's about right. Our cilantro, I'm not actually going to cut. I'm gonna just kind of pluck pieces off because I'm not gonna use a ton. It's gonna just be a garnish at the end. And this way we keep the whole pieces intact. It'll look a lot better as a garnish. So the final item is gonna be the tofu. We're gonna press this first and then cut it. Get a towel down. Tofu in the middle. And then get a book to set on top of it and let it press down. By the way, shout out to the Flavor Bible. This is a wonderful book if you wanna get into recipe design and learn how different flavors work together. All right, I'm gonna let this sit while I drain and wash everything, and then we'll get back to cutting it. All right, let's see what we got. All right, tofu is pressed. All right, now we're just gonna cut it into small bite-sized pieces. Well, these aren't the most even pieces, but they'll work. All right, collard greens are almost done, so we're gonna start getting these noodles prepped. Same as last time, we're just gonna soak about that much. Just gonna soak these for about 30 minutes. It worked out pretty well last time, so just gonna do that again. All right, got another pot. All right, gonna go in with the palm sugar. This is more of like a syrupy palm sugar. All right, that's bubbling. That's got a nice brown color to it. So now we're going to add our measured tamarind paste. I guess that's more of a tamarind concentrate. Some water. Remember, water is a free ingredient. And a bit of fish sauce. And we're just gonna let this reduce for a little while. And I'm gonna turn down that heat because that is bubbling a bit too much. I also gotta say, as with anything that has fish sauce in it, this smells horrible while it's cooking, gotta say. All right, this is about good. We're gonna let this sit off the heat for a little while and then start actually making the pad thai. A wok. All right, in this bowl, I have a lot of that stuff. I have the Napa cabbage, the dried shrimp, the collard greens, the tofu, a lot of that stuff in there. Got the garlic and the chili paste here. The drained noodles. I may have used too many noodles actually, now that I'm looking at it. The eggs. I actually don't know if there's a specific order that you're supposed to do pad thai. This is just how I've always done it. Ooh, that stuck a lot to the bottom. I might not have oiled that enough. Or the pan has just cooled down too much. Pour some of that sauce in there. All right, we're gonna pour the rest of this sauce in. Going with our thyme. And the scallion tops. I will say, I think the noodles have overcooked by now. They are looking very soft. And we're gonna go in with a little bit of crushed peanuts. Leave a little bit for the garnish. I just now realized I almost forgot the Vegemite. I almost just did all that and totally forgot the Vegemite. Definitely don't need a lot here to get the flavor. In fact, that might actually be too much. I think that might be too much. All right, and we're gonna add those bean sprouts at the end. I almost forgot these two, to be honest. The bowl. I spilled a little as I was trying to get this out. Gonna garnish with these last bits of peanuts And of course, this beautiful cilantro. All it really needs now, to be honest, is a lime. And with this setup, you can actually see the bowl here. You can see everything. Also shirt change because I took a shower while the collard greens were cooking. I am definitely excited to try this. Bon appetit. Two things right off the bat here. Number one, the noodles, definitely added too many of them. And like I said, that kind of cools down the pan, which is why it kind of started to clump up there. It was more steaming than frying by the end. And then number two, I definitely would have liked a little more sauce, but that might be just personal preference. There's definitely the flavor of the sauce in there. The Vegemite adds a little bit of umami boost to it. I tried it before and after the Vegemite, definitely adds a little bit of umami, but not much. It's barely there if you know it's in there. The thyme and the cilantro definitely work in here. They flavor everything nicely. And then all those mix-ins of a pad thai with the dried shrimp, the fish sauce, the tamarind paste. It sounds kind of awkward maybe to an American palate how all that works together, but it is your core pad thai sauce and it tastes really good when it all comes together. Definitely could have added some more garnishes. I always forget just how much leafy greens tend to reduce when you saute them down. So yeah, the collard greens and the Napa cabbage are kind of lost in here. And also, I mentioned it before, I definitely would have liked a lime. It just really, that acid from a lime really helps round everything out in pad thai. But overall, I'd say this was a solid dish. Now, for the score, I would normally say this is restaurant quality, but definitely made a few mistakes here with too many noodles. It is a little bit overcooked with those noodles. Flavor-wise, it is phenomenal. I love pad thai. It's one of my favorite dishes of all time. I really wish I had a better wok setup to just make this better. Again, it could use a little bit more sauce. I also would like a little bit more chili paste. That's just personal preference. But overall, all the flavors round out here very nicely. For complexity and price is gonna take a bit of a hit because depending on where you live, it might be hard to get some of these ingredients like the dried shrimp, the tamarind paste, the palm sugar, maybe even the fish sauce. I don't know how easy that is to find everywhere. Otherwise though, pretty standard dish. I mean, noodles, tofu, egg, nothing there is too expensive. It's really just those kind of exotic ingredients that we use. Complexity-wise though, it's definitely gonna take a hit. This is one of the most complex dishes I think we've made on this show so far. There are a lot of ingredients, a lot of parts to this. Wok cooking itself, as I mentioned last episode, can be a bit difficult if you've never done it before. So due to my own personal mistakes and kind of the complexity of the dish, I'm gonna give this one a 7.5 out of 10. And for name, I'm gonna call it Pad Thai Goes Rogue. Or maybe Rogue's Pad Thai, that goes better. Kind of fits the D&D theme. As always, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you like this video. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.